He says it was the only way he could get out.
What am I going to do? I had 10 people throwing punches at me.
Now, there were some peaceful demonstrators last night, but many of the people we saw were young men and young women who were here to do only one thing, which is to throw punches. And on more than one occasion, Robin, we did see young people throwing up gang signs in those mobs of protesters.
So, in a fleeting moment, this reporter, who apparently isn't
a random act of journalism, is what it was.
Yes, who doesn't seem to normally do a very good job, did a pretty darn good job of explaining what was going on. But as you can clearly see, and I want to let everybody know, you're listening to Smith Radio, smithradio.com with Brian Smith and Kerry Smith. You can follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio, at Smith Radio, SMYTH, and on Facebook.com/Smith Radio. If you want to be a part of the show, call in 513-888-1538, and you can listen to all the past shows on iHeartRadio. And we created a quick link for you, iHeart.smithradio.com. And we're wrapping up the San Jose riots, but let me just put this into perspective. All these riots happened because they were organized by Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and the left.
And the unions. There were lots of union signs early on before, and basically what they did was they waited until the Trump rally was over, so as people exited, they could hunt them down, as the sleaze said. And that's exactly what they did. And if you look at all the videos, which are all over the place, on Facebook, on YouTube, and whatnot, where they were showing what these people were doing, there was a lot of physical assaults. It's weird. You see a guy coming out and you scream at him, and then you just can't help but to swing at him. It's crazy that and assault him with shopping bags full of bricks or whatever the heck he had in there. And
what about the mayor? What about the mayor of San Jose?
So
the Sam Riccardo.
It turns out, while this is all going on, several reporters were pointing out, and these are small time reporters. It's like at Timcast pointed out that the cops were right there, because it was like, where are the cops? Where are the cops? They would pan over, and the cops were right there
in riot gear. Yeah, riot gear with the big shield and the helmet and the baton.
They were not.
Nobody got maced.
Any assaults?
Right. No protesters got maced. Nobody was escorted. Nobody was pushed around.
They literally allowed the violence to happen. And so I tweeted out that the San Jose Police Department should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for what went down.
With the memes.
For them allowing, and then somebody pointed out, somebody corrected me and said, whoa. The mayor, whose name is Sam Riccardo, he is the one that set up San Jose as a sanctuary city.
Yes. Oh, yes.
He gave the order, or this is what's been the rumor floating around, is he gave the order to all the cops to stand down.
Stand down order, yeah.
And to not stop any protesters from doing what they want to do.
If you're a police officer, how do you allow that?
Right. You can't let them off. And I pointed that out, too, on Twitter. I said, now listen, obviously the mayor has a huge responsibility for this, but as a cop, how in the world do you adhere
not
to
protect
that?
these innocent bystanders and their First Amendment right of free speech?
Yeah, and a lot of people treat these Trump supporters who went to this rally as if they live somewhere, like they came in from outside of San Jose. These are people that live in San Jose.
Yeah, and the people that were rioting might have been bussed in, but then again, you said it was a sanctuary city.
Oh, yeah, they may have been bussed in from Mexico City.
These people that were being attacked need to know that they are currently living in a sanctuary city, and what happens in a sanctuary city is illegals looting, rioting, wreaking havoc, and having no respect for law and order whatsoever.
Right. So I still maintain that the police should definitely feel ashamed of themselves. Sam Riccardo should be held responsible to the point where he should be impeached and
absolutely.
Possibly even even criminal charges.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
They're all very lucky that nobody got killed.
Oh,
I mean.
Could you imagine?
It's amazing that there was no gunfire or
like in
stabbings.
In L.A., that guy that went to an L.A. Dodgers baseball game was hitting he had an opposing team jersey on from Oakland, and got hit in the back of the head.
He was like in a coma.
Went in a coma for months and months and months, and eventually died.
Oh, did he? I didn't realize that. I remember when he went into a coma.
It was huge, and it was from a Mexican, and nobody knows what his status was, but it was from a Hispanic male. And those LA Dodger games, you don't go to them unless you're in a gang and you're Hispanic. They're very violent games.
And last thing about it, as this was going on, the top, one of the top hashtags on Twitter was hashtag San Jose. Halfway through the rioting, when it was really going out of control, hashtag disappeared. And
amazing.
Let me explain that for those of you that aren't really familiar with Twitter. When you type a hashtag in a tweet, it will give you suggestions based on how popular those hashtags are. So if you just put hashtag, you'll get a list of the top that you can choose from. If you put in another letter, like for instance S, it'll give you the top trending hashtags that start with S. And if you put in SA, it'll give you all the top trending hashtags that start with SA. Okay, so obviously, if you just, on the night of the riots, if you clicked in on hashtag, San Jose would be somewhere up there. If you clicked on S, it was number one, San Jose.
Wow.
If you clicked in SA, obviously the only thing that would show up would be San Jose. Halfway through the night, when you clicked on hashtag, no San Jose. When you clicked on S, no San Jose. When you clicked on SA, no San Jose. If you clicked on hashtag SANJOS, no San Jose. I am not kidding. There was no...
Wow.
They scrubbed it. They got rid of it. And I just want to point out that Twitter is meddling.
Yeah, right.
We've said this many times. Twitter meddles.
And Facebook's been meddling.
They've been outed.
Right.
But Twitter's never been accused or outed. And I'm telling you, I'm on Twitter enough to know they're definitely meddling.
Right. And all these riots and all, they were waving the Mexican flag, burning the American flag, all these riots that the left, the liberals, the Democrats have caused is only fueling Donald Trump.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, all those guys, waving the Mexican flags. There were people with signs that said, "Make California Mexico again."
Yes!
That is definitely going to win Trump. And I can understand why they don't understand how that's going to help him, because they live in this bubble called California, where everybody around them are all Mexican citizens who have traveled up from Mexico, and now they're living permanently in California. And they look at somebody like Trump, and they say, we can't have this guy as president, and everybody I know thinks he's evil and Hitler and blah, blah, blah. And they just don't even understand. By doing these demonstrations, they're going to completely solidify their fate.
Okay, check this out. They interviewed Ronald Reagan's 1984 re-election campaign manager, Ed Rollins. They interviewed him and talked to him about all these riots. And why did they interview him? Because Donald Trump this week hired him to take his national campaign to the presidency. And when they interviewed Ed, he said, "This reminds me of the past. There were the riots that Democrats caused back in the past that caused Republicans to be elected."
Yep.
And this is he said this is fueling the American
nationalism.
Yeah, nationalism
and isolationism if we're talking about foreign affairs.
Right. And I'm gonna do not be afraid of these words. Nationalism is a good word when we come together as a nation to for freedom. For freedom of speech, for the freedom to pursue your own life and live it the way you want it.
Yeah, and we talked about words like this. We talked about righteousness. That word has been demonized because of self-righteousness.
Right.
Oh, you're just a self-righteous, blah, 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 blah. And so some people don't realize that the word righteous is actually a great word. And if you're a righteous person, that's a huge compliment.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And nationalism, believe it or not, a vast majority of human beings on Earth from all countries are nationalists. They may not identify using that word. It's just like communists. There are people out there that are full-blown communists, either communist supporters or they just are communist sympathizers. But that word has been so tainted that you say that, they're like, oh, how dare you call me names? What is this, ad hominem attacks? Blah. No. You're actually a communist. Fascism has definitions too, and all that kind of stuff. Which those actually can have some negative connotations. But nationalism has been demonized by the Nazis because it's the National Socialist Party,
right? And
so, if
they
somebody calls you a nationalist, they're probably trying to call you a Nazi,
right? And Hitler used nationalism, used it on purpose to push his agenda and to get the country to follow him and go with him. If he didn't have the country unified and under nationalism, it wouldn't have had the same effect that he had.
Right. And here's another thing, too. In Germany, there was this nationalist movement where they looked at Jews as outsiders.
Right.
That
correct.
were not part of the nation. They were these people that shouldn't be there. And then their solution was to exterminate them all. None of that is going on in America. The thing about Mexicans is, you're Mexican citizens, just go home.
Right. Why? And people say, well, why are you coming to this country and you want to change our rules and change our laws? Well, if you don't win the war, then what do? You invade another country just like ISIS is doing by sending all their men and all
Young
their
men.
Violent offenders to other countries to overrun the country. I mean, that's exactly when I lived out there in California, in Southern California, it was so frustrating and so I was so distraught all the time because there was zero nationalism for America.
Some people call it patriotism.
Right. You don't see American flags flying on houses out in L.A., in Southern California. You just don't see it. And I pointed that out to my wife, and then when we moved back to Cincinnati, she's like, holy smoke, everybody's got a flag.
You mean people actually like America?
Right.
That's amazing.
So, but you see nationalism for different cities of Mexico. They'll have on their back window big giant letters that say, it could even be a country. It could be Honduras, Guatemala. But they'll have cities of Mexico on the back of their car. Michoacan or Zacatecas or, just different cities. And they're like, yeah, that's where I'm from. That's where they get big tattoos of the cities, all proud of that. And then they come to California to take it back
they'll tell you that
by
too.
force. And they say, well, this is our land. We're taking it back.
It's more like squatting.
Yeah, it is exactly like squatting.
Yeah, it's like, well, we'll come here and we'll stay here and we're not going to leave, and then eventually we'll just claim it.
And the American government is actually helping them because apparently
they're not enforcing their own laws.
Yeah, the border agents are telling us this week that they're being deployed to areas of the border that are never breached.
Yeah, that's totally...
They're being put to the border. I watch this part of the border. Well, nobody crosses this part of the border. Well, that's where I'm telling you to go to.
Yeah, that's not going to work. And we know that the Border Patrol has totally endorsed Trump.
Oh, absolutely. So. And then also the drug cartels, Mexican drug cartels, they don't care who you are. They don't care what you are. As long as you give them money, they'll do whatever you want them to do. And ISIS is now met up with the Mexican drug cartel and is currently paying them to get them across the border into America. We know ISIS is here, but now they're flooding in as well. So you better arm yourself and you better be careful.
Well, and all these things, we got the San Jose riots, we got this FBI report about the Mexican cartel helping ISIS to come over. This is going to be the thing that helps Trump become our president, and it's going to make everything that he does to secure the border very palatable to everybody.
Yes.
And the thing about the San Jose riots, and Wayne Dupree, I'm going to give him credit for this, for pointing this out. Actually, a whole bunch of people said it, but he's the first one I read on Twitter. He points out, look, I was thinking amnesty is, and we talk about this on the show, amnesty is the only way you can solve this issue humanely.
Correct.
After San Jose, humanity's going to go out the door.
It's going to be very difficult, and for those of you that have lived
we're
here,
going to be okay with tearing families apart,
right?
In order to adhere to the law. Now, here at Smith Radio, our thing was amnesty.